Yeah, thank you very much. It's a great question. I think, the Philippines, like all members of the international community, have a responsibility and have already made predetermined commitments to maintaining the rules-based international order. We're all signatories to the UN conventions, here very poignantly in the region, the UNCLOS convention, the arbitral award in 2016. We all have a responsibility to basically help make sure that the global community respects norms, standards, and rules of behavior and engagement. Again, for a country like Canada, like the Philippines, because we are a sort of a middle power in Canada, our commitment, to that rules-based international order is absolutely very much at the forefront of our national interest. It's at the forefront of our national interest simply from a values standard, right, to be a significant contributor to the global commons, right, to the global good, to the betterment of all of our collective interests. This is one planet that we share. And again, here we are sitting on a Canadian warship today, right? But Canada's commitment to the people of the Philippines, to the region, is equally committed across the entire spectrum of engagement, including climate change, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I think all countries around the world have a responsibility, a moral responsibility, and candidly a legal responsibility to be able to maintain the order to which we've all subscribed to which we've all agreed to. And so simply our presence here is just, frankly, doing in deeds what we said we would do in words.
How does Canada see China's actions in the West Philippines?
Yeah. So I think, look, we've been clear. Our embassy here has been clear. We've made a number of statements over the last number of months as we've seen a rise in behaviors in the West Philippine Sea and the South China Sea that we have determined that are worrisome. Canada has not been alone in that. We've shared our comments, I think, with many members of the like-minded international community. Again, I will go back to the UNCLOS and the arbitral decision. I think it's very clear how we stand. It is unequivocal. The decision is final. It's binding, and we expect all countries who have subscribed to that to respect that. And so our position is, been very, very clear, and we'll continue to speak out when and where the situation may warrant.
Yes, please.
Is there an update on the MOU on defense cooperation?
Ambassador, do you want to take a point?
Yes, so one of the things that we're here, we have a commitment to the people of the Philippines. One of the things that I think Canada is tremendously proud of, and this is a very impressive modern warship. But I think the thing that's most important for us is the caliber of Canadian commitment, right? Is the professionalization of our military. And so one of the things that we're looking to do, as you rightly suggested, is to sign a memorandum of understanding, a memorandum of cooperation with the government of the Philippines. Our latest understanding is we are in the very, very late stages of signing that. We will be leading a delegation to Ottawa in the coming weeks on the 11th and 12th of October. For our political consultations between Canada and the Philippines, and we're very, very hopeful, and our Philippine partners here are giving us every positive indication that we'll be in a position to announce some good news about the conclusion of that memorandum of understanding and cooperation in the very near future.
Colonel Taylor, anything further on that front?
No, and I think it's a positive step in the right direction for this relationship. As I said, it's familial, it's friendly, and it's growing, and so this will actually enable us to go beyond, the current mechanisms that we have in place under the Military Training Cooperation Program, and expanding and learning from each other, actually. And that's the great thing about MOUs. It's not a one-way street. This is a partnership. And remember that. It is a partnership. We're both middle powers, operating in a brave new world here. And the only way that we're going to essentially be able to thrive together is as a partnership. And that starts across all the whole line of government, if you will, including defense relations. So we're really excited about concluding this MOU so we can continue to expand and grow this relationship.
Why is it important for Canada to have a naval presence in this region? And what do you think will happen? Countries like Canada and other like-minded countries won't show up here.
Could you repeat the question,
Yeah.
please?
So why is it important for Canada to have a naval presence in the region, in this part of the region? And what do you think will happen if countries like Canada and other like-minded countries won't show up here?
Well, first off, I think I'll address the latter part of the question. I'm quite confident that others will show up here. Again, it's our commitment collectively to the rules-based international order. It's very, very important that in practice that we practice what we preach, as my mother would say. It's very, very important that we demonstrate to the people of the Philippines that we are committed to the region. And I think part of that commitment is having a physical presence here. We happen to be blessed with having a first-rate military, a highly, highly capable, highly, highly professional military. So we have something to contribute to the region, right? We have something to contribute towards the maintenance and the stability of international order. We have something to contribute to the commitment of a free and open Indo-Pacific, right? You know, $5 trillion of annual trade transits this region of the world. It's very, very important to the global commons that these sea lanes remain open, and that, of course, again, coming back to the fact that Canada believes very, very strongly that all countries in the region, all partners, must respect the law and must respect international norms and standards. And so I am very convinced that you will see more and more partners come to the region in a physical way to be able to demonstrate their own proportionate contribution to making sure that the global community here adheres to what we have subscribed to, right? And it's just simply, putting our money where our mouth is, practicing what we preach, whatever cliche you would like to use, but I mean that very sincerely, that for us, it's to practice in deeds what we say in words, and so we mean it. And, Canada is a country that we are not an overly militaristic society. We are not an overly jingoistic society. But when the world, wants and needs us, and there's a role for us to play, we're there. We never shy away from a strong commitment to our friends, our partners, and our allies. That's something that I personally, on a human level, I'm tremendously proud of. My own brother is a serving member of the Canadian Armed Forces. My grandfather, great-grandfather, etc. Canada is committed to the global order, right? It's in our DNA. Since our inception as a country, it's very, very important that we all contribute towards, trying to make the world a better place.
Captain, just thinking about the question about presence and friends and partners and allies. You, of course, have been doing the work. I wonder if you wanted to contribute on that front.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's extremely important is that we're here providing this forward presence and with the Indo-Pacific strategy, and it just goes to demonstrate the seriousness that Canada is taking, because as a Pacific nation, we do have a vested interest, and we do want to continue to build those defense partnerships like we are with the Philippines.
And just to add on to that, this is one of the many tools that we have, right, to facilitate defense engagement. I know we're playing tennis back and forth here at the table. And when you look at engagement, it's many things, right? It's diplomatic, it's military, it's community engagement. In fact, one of the great things that we're doing here as part of this, and it's very tactical, but still it's meaningful, and it shows our appreciation to the gracious hosts that the Philippines are, is community outreach. Right, so it's so many different. It's so multifaceted, right? And so it's just not one dimensional. But beyond the ship, it's just one of many tools that we have available to actually, facilitate and enhance defense engagement within this region.
And I'll just add one last thing. I mean, I think it's really important to note that, here we are, we're talking about, geostrategic issues of concern. We're talking about geo and economic issues of concern. But, because, in Canada, we have a very large Filipino-Canadian community, right? About 1 million citizens. These aren't just workers, temporary guests in our country. These are our citizens, our fellow citizens. And so what matters to Canadians happens at the dinner table, right? Yes, you can talk about the big picture, you can talk about the grand strategy or whatever, but what happens in this region and the world matters to Canadians, and it matters to families talking over dinner together at the dinner table, right? So it has resonance. So what happens here matters to Canadians, and it matters to Canadians for all of the aforementioned reasons and more. But first and foremost, it matters from a familial perspective. This is a very, very important region. We've been invited, by partners in the region to be able to demonstrate our commitment, and we hope that we're more than aptly demonstrating that to our partners, our friends, and ultimately our family here in the region.